Let's talk some toys in here.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Today it's the Man-Child. Alright, so today we're going to go over the new Masters Universe Origins cartoon He-Man figure, Filmation figure. So yeah, if you're not familiar, you are. Obviously the Origins now are putting Filmation figures into the line. They announced this late last year. Mattel also did say that they're going to finish up the vintage-inspired Origins figures, but they'll all be Mattel Creations exclusives. So they already teased like Extendar, Cyclone, Rock-On, and they'll be coming to the line along with the others. I mention that because, you know, the Origins is a big part of nostalgia for a lot of us adult collectors, and I'm all about getting those vintage-inspired figures. Now, they already finished up, I'd say, close to 90% of the line, you know, so we have about 13, 14 vintage-inspired figures left, as the ones I mentioned, but now they're putting Filmation into the line. Now, these are going to be sold at retail, and as of right now, these are all up for pre-order, meaning He-Man, Beastman, Skeletor, I want to say Man-at-Arms, at Big Bad Toy Store. Some of these figures are supposed to have a release date of next month, like the He-Man and Beastman, and the others, I think, in January. So it's cool already up for pre-order, and they're going to come out within the next month or two, hopefully. As far as my thoughts, I mean, you know, I was a little mixed on the Filmation figures, and I remember being asked this in the comments when these were announced, are you going to be collecting, reviewing these? And I was like, oh, you know, I'm all for that, but once again, I'd rather the vintage-inspired figures. But now that I just, you know, got He-Man, and I got Beastman in hand as well, I'll do a separate review on him. There he is, a little tease. I think he looks awesome. I really do. Take a closer look at the card. I think the card's really cool. So, yeah, of course, we have 80s Adventures, going back to that cartoon. We got the He-Man Master Universe logo exploding there. I like all his Cosmos in the back. We got Castle Grayskull. And, of course, this cartoon sticker. I mean, yeah, I'm really liking this card with this He-Man. And the head sculpt looks really just over the top, I got to say, for Filmation. So, moving on, taking a closer look at the art on the back of the package. Yeah, pretty cool art. It's got He-Man Skeletor there. So he has a different powers. All right, he comes with a couple different power swords. And it says, as seen on the Masks of Power. I don't remember that episode. That's interesting. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, pretty cool art for this He-Man. And dropping down to the left-hand side, here's just a look of his action features, which really just, you know, a typical Origins figure. Doesn't have any. I don't think he springs at the waist. Hopefully he comes apart at the waist. So yeah, it includes the two different swords. And okay, so it's a Sword of Ancients. I remember seeing that. I couldn't remember what it was called. It's right here. And then, of course, he comes with his typical power sword. Then moving over to the right, here's a cross-sell with all the new Filmation figures. So, of course, we have He-Man. I do have the Beastman. And there's Man-at-Arms and Skeletor, which are coming out next month, or as I said, in January. Mattel Creations just dropped the Skeletor with that Phoebe figure, whatever it was called. I didn't buy it. I didn't want to spend $50 to get something I don't collect for a Skeletor. I'm just going to wait for the single car release, which he will be coming out soon. Alright, so I got He-Man out of package, and before we go over them, of course, all 4 figures come with a new comic book. I'm assuming this comes with all the newer Filmation Series 1. Yeah, pretty cool art there. So let's flip through it, and you could, you know, try to pause. You want to read it, or just look at the images and stuff like that. Alright, so we got the Roton there, Skeletor. I'm just going to move it like this, so you can try to read it if you want to pause and all that good stuff. Pretty cool. So the Mass of Power, I do remember that. I looked it up on Google. This has been a long time. And it was Season 1, Episode 34, I think it said. And I remember that, yeah, with the masks and all that, the 2 different swords. Yeah, I was a little kid when I seen that a long time ago. But pretty cool art. Got Beastman, everything going here with the newer figures. I don't see Man-at-Arms yet. He's got that freeze ray. Check all that out. So, yeah, awesome art. You know, just it's always cool to see new comics with the newer figures. All right, and here's He-Man and his 2 swords out of package. Yeah, this figure looks really cool. So they did change. He is taller than the vintage-inspired He-Man for the Origins. So I'm going to right off the bat here. Let's bring the vintage-inspired, you know, the Origins He-Man in so you can see the difference in height, size, armor. Now, mine has a custom head from eBay that looks more like the vintage figure that goes on the Origins. I like that. But, yeah, look at the... Yeah, different design. So he's... Obviously, I mean, the sculpting's different. You can just see it in the abs and the body. But definitely taller. The legs are taller. Of course, sculpted different. The muscles. And here's kind of a side profile. You can see there. I want to say the arms are, yeah, they're a little bigger. Just the muscle aesthetics are different. Pretty interesting, huh? So, taking a closer look at the new Filmation He-Man's head. Yeah, really cool. I think this is as good as it's going to get for a Filmation He-Man head to be put on an Origins figure. So here you go again. You know, you're trying to take something that from a Filmation cartoon and put it on a toy. Super 7 did that with their classics He-Man. That looked a little better, but of course that was trying to be more realistic, like the figures just jumped out of a cartoon with those type of those classics figures. I had that one in card laying around, but this is like, yeah, really, I think just a great job. Just the eyes, the expression on the face, the hair. It's simple, you know, but it works for this figure as far as the articulation. You know, left, right. Go down about that far and back. Now, again, I'm going to bring another comparison real quick. So this was the Mattel Creations. That was out of the 4-pack. Their Filmation He-Man. Yeah, this one I like a lot better. I mean, this one wasn't bad, but something... Once it got down to the chin and the expression with the... I don't know, the eyes looking up and the grin or something. I just... It looked off to me. I didn't like it. This is just right. For me, anyway. So moving down, yeah, a whole different buck and chest design, as I mentioned now. Okay, so we know you can spin at the waist. Has a Filmation cross armor. So once again, I'm going to bring in the Mattel Creations one. It's the same exact armor, but this is painted in flat gray, where this is a metallic blue. And yeah, flipping them around, the sword holder is exactly identical. Looks like the buckle straps. So it's the same armor from that figure, but painted different. Yeah, it's like, so you can even see the muscle, muscle stacks are different. As far as the articulation, go, you know, out, all the way out, of course, close to the body, go forward and back. He can spin at the elbow, bend all the way up at the face like this. Has a couple simple style bracers going back to the Filmation cartoon, painted in orange, of course, all part of the sculpt. And this He-Man comes with 2 semi-weapon gripping hands, and so this can spin and the hinge. Okay, so the hinge joints go in and out on both. Now, does the arms, let's see, yep, okay, so it's the same exact, looks like the same exact pegs as the, you know, regular Origins figures, with the ball peg. Yep, that looks identical to me as well. And as far as the cross armor, so let's start breaking this guy apart. It's going to pop off like this from this side, and then the same with the left side. And it's going to pull right over the body. And there's a closer look at that armored off the body with the, okay, the sword holder in the back. Now, does that, looks like that can come off. Looks like it's on a plug. Oh, okay, so I didn't even know that with the other one. I never took it off before. So it can actually come right off, and you have a plug hole there. So with the armor off here, once again, there's a closer look at the buck. Of course, put the arm and head back on. There's a front and a back. So yeah, we said he spins at the waist. Yep, comes apart at the waist. Same exact peg as the Origins figures. Yeah, the muscles and the legs, I already said, are completely different. Sculpting, legs are larger. So as far as the articulation of this figure, and go all the way out, split, kick forward, go back, bend all the way up the knee, can spin at the knee, and, you know, can spin at the boot, and the foot goes up, down, rock side to side. These boots, so the boots are the same exact boots as the Origins first release He-Man, looks like to me, and the hands are the same too. So once again, moving on with a little better detail comparisons with the armors of both of these He-Man. So it's our new Filmation He-Man. Of course, there's the vintage inspired He-Man, my custom head. Yeah, you can see the total difference in, you know, like as I said, the body, the height. I mean, you can see how much taller that figure is, right? Here's the back design. All right, we already looked at the legs. Now, I'm curious. So we're going to pop this waist apart. I just want to break some parts around off the thing here. And we're going to put, all right, let's see. So I'm going to put the legs from the Filmation on the vintage first release He-Man, see how that works out. So check that out. So you can actually add, it's a more simple belt. It's not too off, I mean, from, you know, so you're getting these little jewels around. But it does look good on this He-Man. You know, if you wanted to put this on the vintage inspired one from the Origins. Color is a little, it's not bad. This one's a little bit darker. It seems like it could be my light, but it does work. And once again, he has the same boots. Change boots out. So once again, with the vintage inspired buck, with the armored off, I put the new Filmation arms, and of course we have the legs on this He-Man with my head. So you can do that as well, and it still looks good. So it makes him look even bulkier as far as the arm and legs, but he has a typical buck, as I said. And of course, you can change heads out. So it's neat you can do that. Now this will be a look with the head, the arms, the waist, and legs on the typical vintage inspired buck. you want to do something like that, you like that buck for some reason. It doesn't look bad. It's just, just different. Something different with the legs, arms, and, of course, head. And then, of course, I just took that Filmation buck and added our first release vintage inspired origins, you know, the waist with the legs, arms, and then that head on the body. If you just wanted to use this buck for some reason. And it doesn't look bad with the color with this particular He-Man. So I switched all the parts between the two He-Man figures back to each other. So yeah, obviously this is the vintage-inspired Origins figure once again. Now I put a regular vintage-inspired Origins head on instead of this custom, because most people don't have this. Just, I don't know, for more accuracy, all about the understand about the articulation. But the whole point of this is I wanted to put that cross armor from the Filmation on the vintage-inspired buck. So you can take a look at that, how it works, and what it looks like with the sword holder. And now jumping back over to Filmation He-Man with the buck, arms, legs all set up as it came in the head. This is the obviously vintage-inspired Origins armored on this buck, so it does work too, and it fits with no problem. So before we move on, more comparisons and part swapping, I just wanted to bring in the two weapons. So of course we have the Sword of the Ancients. Take a closer look at that. Yeah, really cool detail for an Origins figure. A little face sculpt in there, and it's just molded in all like a flat metallic plastic color. And then, of course, you get that Filmation Cartoon Inspired sword, which came out really cool. But with the Mattel Creations one, you got the sword in vac mellow, which is even cooler. But that's those two together. And here's a quick comparison with all the Origins weapons as far as the He-Man figures go. So, of course, we have our two new swords I just went over. This would be the first release vintage-inspired Origins He-Man sword. We got the axe and the shield. Now here's a quick look with both of the new swords in the Filmation He-Man's arms. Check that out. I had to switch the arms back from the other He-Man. I forgot. I didn't notice that. But yeah, because he has the two semi-weapon, gripping hands. But you can change these out with the other Origins hands. I already tried it. Take a look at that. Looks cool. And now I don't think the articulation, like you want the race, I have the power. And you're not really gonna, it's the best you're gonna get with the articulation, the head looking up. There's not. I thought maybe these arms would be something little different. So going back to that sword holder, it's of course designed for the Filmation sword, which works. And you can also put this Sword of the Ancients in it as well. Look like that. And here's a quick look with the vintage-inspired axe and shield in this Filmation He-Man's hands. So if you want to use those weapons, they work fine, of course. And then that first release sword also fits in the sword holder as well. And jumping back to the hands for a second, I already tried it to show you. So it's the same Origins peg. And I'm just going to bring in an open hand from another He-Man, pop that in just so you can take a look at that. And then the articulation is all the same. You can spin, go in and out. It works fine for like the shield or something. So next, I want to bring the Filmation He-Man back in, all set up with the swords and stuff with the Origins Battle Cat. All right, we'll take a look at that. Looks really cool on it. Works awesome. So moving on, the next thing I wanted to do is try some other Origins He-Man inspired armors out on this Filmation He-Man. So of course I took his armor off. And this is the Thunder Punch setup. Works perfect. I put the other fist in hand, the punching fist with that fire effect, and the shield in hand. Of course, kept everything else the same as far as the head. Oh, this is a custom sword, by the way, for Origins. Yeah, he came with the gold one. This is what it should have come with, like the figure, see-through, translucent. But you want to check that out? It looks really cool. Now you can have a Filmation-inspired Thunder Punch He-Man. So next, I brought in the Origins 2000X He-Man armor, put it on that buck. It does fit, and brought the sword and the axe in hand. Check that out. And here's the same setup. I just threw that 2000X head on this whole body with arms, the buck, the legs, all that. Of course, the armor and stuff. So bringing in Dragon Blaster Skeletor for a second. Somebody in the comments asked me, will this armor fit on that buck? Now, of course, it's He-Man. We do have Skeletor coming. But the Skeletor, I'm assuming, will be the same exact buck, arms, legs. So maybe we should, we'll try this armored on this He-Man, see if it works. Because if it does, and we know it's going to work on a new Skeletor if you want to have that set up. As far as other He-Man figures now, the only other ones in Origins we have left that would be unique is the Battle Armored and the Flying Fists. But of course, they're their own, sculpt. So it's not like we could take the armor pieces off and put it on this He-Man. Let's try this armored out on He-Man. This new He-Man, see if it works. So to answer that person's question in the comments, yes, that Dragon Blaster Skeletor armor works perfect on this He-Man. Has plenty of room. A little tight back here on one of the straps, but I pushed it, went right on. Check that out. Now we got Dragon Blaster He-Man. But, yeah, I can't believe that works, because that armor seemed tight on Skeletor. And this is a bigger buck. Yeah, I used one of these little figure stands, these clear ones, because he does not stand up with that weight. Clamps are on the waist. These work pretty good. I got these on eBay. So also messing around, I want to try the Wondar setup. So of course we have that Zodak Wondar armored on the body, and I did change the boots out just to confirm that they are the same He-Man boots and pegs, which obviously look like, through the weapons in hand. And just left the Filmation setup on, right? So this was Wondar. Now of course we want the black wrist bracers and the belt. You'd have to change over the legs and the arms, like I did with the early in the video with the He-Man. But you want to use the armor and boots, you could do that. And then here's a quick look with the same setup in the Wondar head on that body with the brown hair. And with everything broken down, here's even a closer look at just the bucks, the main part. So this is the Wondar one, or He-Man buck, same thing. And this is the new Filmation He-Man. Right, so you can kind of get a sense of just what the differences are. Now, the vintage or the Wondar He-Man bucks they're actually look like they're wider in the chest here, but then they're skinnier down by the abs and the ribs, where this one's kind of opposite, it seems to me. Of course, the muscle aesthetics are different, right? There's a front and a back. And let's take a look at the side. So it is a different design. Is it taller? No, about the same. Looks deceiving. It looks like it's a lot larger. It's different. It's something in the legs of that He-Man. But what I'm saying is anything that fits the Origins, I think it's going to fit these Filmation figures in the bucks, and vice versa. Okay, so setting this He-Man all back up, I just left the armored off for now and doing some more comparisons. So, of course, there's our new Filmation Origins He-Man against the Master Universe Classics He-Man. So you can take a look at those two together. And I want to try that Filmation Armored on the Classics buck, and it got adjusted a little bit. It does work. Looks pretty cool. Now you have a sword holder for that He-Man. Check that out. And then I threw the Classics Cross Armored on this Filmation He-Man set up as he is. Works really well. You can slide the sword down the back with that piece like the Classics. Okay, so next up, of course, once again, we have our Filmation He-Man with the armored off next to Masterverse He-Man. Mine has a little custom stuff going on. I changed the body over from a Viking He-Man because it was all yellow at original body, so I have a tan body. I changed the loincloth boost, the whole deal. And he has a custom vintage-inspired head. Let's mix some part, or at least, yeah, let's try the armoreds and maybe the heads between these two and see what that looks like. Okay, so here's a look with that Filmation armored, of course, on the Masterverse body. Once again, take a look at that. I have my vintage inspired custom head on. We could do a whole video with just heads and armors, and we already got so much going on. So if you have the original head, sort of imagine what it looks like. But the whole idea is, does the armor work on the Masterverse aesthetic, the body? And it does. Doesn't look bad at all. And then once again, take a look at the Masterverse body with that armored on. I want to throw the Filmation head on, see how that works. I mean, yeah, it's going to be off a little bit with the skin tone. It is a little loose, but I just want to see if these heads fit on a Masterverse peg, which usually they do. That one's, yeah, it's just something with the head itself, but it can work. It's not terrible. You want the mixed Filmation with a Masterverse body, you can do that. And I also want to bring in that newer Barbosa Customs, new Attorney of Filmation-inspired He-Man head, which is designed for the Masterverse or the 40th anniversary He-Man bodies. So that looks pretty cool, but I want to throw it on this with that Filmation cross armor. Take a look at that. It's awesome head, and there's they got a couple of these from him. Check out the details. Now going back to the Filmation He-Man body, of course I put that Masterverse cross armor on. You like that? Kept the Filmation head in on this body, and just put the Masterverse sword in hand. So you can always mix parts up like that. And I want to throw that Barbosa custom He-Man head on this new body, the Filmation body, because he's making these now. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Even the skin matches well. Articulates, fits on a ball joint good. And then for one last comparison, of course, I'm going to bring in the 40th anniversary He-Man body and overall figure against our new Filmation Origins He-Man. Because I know I'll get this question with the 40th anniversary He-Man. It seems to come up a lot, but I don't show it. Mixing He-Man figures for some reason. I'm surprised I didn't do more with this body design in the Skeletor and He-Man, because they made them a lot bigger than Masterverse, but you never see anything on those two again. Everything seems to be sticking with the Masterverse aesthetics. Anyway, this was the San Diego Comic-Con version, because it had the furry shorts and the boots. Had the weird wash all over the body, the face. I guess the biggest thing is I just want to change out, we'll try out some heads and, of course, the armored on both of these. Alright, so taking a closer look at the 40th anniversary. Yeah, this armor's not really going to fit. You can get one side throw, pull a strap like that, but then the other side, you can see how far off it is without, I don't know, modifying or heating it, or put an extension piece in here if you can somehow on the body, or just let it hang. Yeah, see, it's not even, it kind of looks something like that, which is pretty cool color on this He-Man. And And this is the 40th anniversary course armored on the Filmation He-Man body. Does fit. It's kind of sloppy though. So going back to the Filmation-inspired He-Man, I just threw the cross armor back on, that 40th anniversary head. For people who might have liked that, I didn't mind this head. Looked realistic with the eyes. Some with the flush and the skin was off on a lot of these at mine, but you want to check that out. Mix it up. I think that's all I'm going to do with that, because there ain't much more you can really do with this body. Okay, so that was my overall review on the new Master Universe Filmation or cartoon-inspired He-Man for the Origins line. I think it came out really cool. I like that head. Looks like something that almost jumped out of the cartoon. Somewhat, you know, but of course you're trying to transfer that from a Filmation series to a toy, especially the Origins. I think it worked out well. He did a good job on it. The armored. I like the new buck design too. That's interesting. Just seems a little bit, yeah, taller and larger in the legs, the arms, and everything. Of course, you can move parts back and forth between the Origins He-Man or other figures I showed. Seems like anything that does fit the Origins will fit this buck no problem. Even certain Masterverse and Classics heads and armors and stuff like that. He looks good on the Battle Cat. And just from what I see so far with this He-Man and the Beastman card, I think I'm going to like this line a lot. Of course, we tried a lot of different parts. I mean, again, you can make a whole video with He-Man heads and this and that. And I just try to mix what I can and not make the video too long. And everything seems to work okay. Yeah, I'm liking this Filmation series a lot. So hopefully this video answers everybody's questions. I appreciate all you guys watching. And until next time, take care.